4 medics ran along next to the stretcher bearing Devon Shantz. "Make it stop!" Devon screamed, his skin pale despite his tan. Sweat and blood soaked through the blue Oxford he wore. Blood pooled on the stretcher, dripping over the side, leaving a trail to follow to the infirmary in spite of the bandages being used to stem the ever-increasing flow. Martin Drummond followed the blood trail as he walked behind the moving medical emergency. A black suit with a white shirt and black tie covered his tall, gaunt frame. His dark hair was long and pulled back behind his ears. He knew that the nickname Angel of Death had been attached to him back at Langley, in part due to his appearance, but also his skills. But today, as he followed Devon, the name was not hyperbole. His aide would not survive those wounds. He'd seen the man's intestines through the rips in his skin, and he knew they had ruptured as well. If he didn't die of blood loss, sepsis would undeniably set in and kill him. Ahead, the doors to the medical unit at Lowry Air Force Base stood open, waiting for its newest patient. The medics hustled the stretcher into the unit and right to the waiting doctors, already gowned. "Get him on the table," the female doctor ordered. Martin stepped into the unit. A flurry of medical individuals in blue scrubs blocked Martin's view as they worked frantically to save Devon's life. Martin pulled a pack of cigarettes from his coat pocket and lit one up as he leaned against a wall. An older woman in a nurse's uniform pursed her lips and started to walk over, but she was intercepted by another nurse who spoke urgently to her after a quick, nervous glance back at Martin. The first nurse glanced at him again, this time with traces of fear, before she headed out the other door. Martin took a long, satisfying drag, his feet crossed at the ankles, picturing the attack on Devon. It had happened so fast. The guards with them had been stunned. Martin had his weapon cleared of its holster before they'd even begun to react, but even then, he'd known it was too late for Devon. Dr. Hassan Verma, the head of the medical unit, walked into the room. He glanced over at the flurry of activity around Devon before making his way to Martin. "Mr. Drummond, are you all right?" Martin took a slow drag of his cigarette and blew the smoke out. Most of it hit the doctor in his face. Dr. Verma pulled his head back with a grimace, but said nothing. "I'm fine, but I cannot say the same for my aide. We have the best medical staff here. They will do everything in their power. He won't make it. You know that as well as I do." Dr. Verma nodded. "Most likely. But were you hurt in any way?" Martin shook his head. "No." Dr. Verma's gaze flicked to the bottom of Martin's shirt. Martin followed his gaze and noticed for the first time the dark blue spot that had spread there. Surprise flashed through him. "I didn't realize it had gotten so close." He met the doctor's gaze. "Obviously, that blood is not mine. A med unit was dispatched for the creature as well." Martin raised an eyebrow. "Why?" The doctor frowned. To see if it could be saved." Martin dropped the cigarette and smashed it under his shoe. "Then tell them to stop and make sure the thing is dead." "But, sir—" "Dead, Dr. Verma. Tell them to make sure it is dead."